The various tributaries of the Amazon River may be generally classified according to the color of their waters into three distinct types: 1. White, 2. Black, and 3. Clear. This video features the following major tributaries: Solimões with white waters, Negro with black waters, and Tapajós and Xingu with clear waters. The different colors of the waters is explained in terms of the geological, geomorphological, hydrological, and ecological characteristics of their respective drainage basins. The Amazon basin is the largest in the world, encompassing approximately 7.5 million square kilometers in South America. The basin is also the largest source of fresh water. With a mean discharge of approximately 220,000 cubic meters per second at its mouth, it constitutes about 1/6 of all the fresh water that flows into the oceans. Located in the tropics and mostly covered by forests, 68% of the basin area lies within Brazil. The remaining 32% covers parts of the following 8 countries: Bolivia, Colombia, Ecuador, French Guiana, Guyana, Peru, Suriname, and Venezuela. The waters of Amazon rivers feature different colors, which are readily discernible. Native pre-Columbian inhabitants classified the rivers attending to the color of their waters. They knew that the color of the water indicated differences in its quality, fish resources, soil fertility, and the presence or absence of mosquitoes. Subsequently, scientists used river color to classify Amazon rivers into 4 types. 1. Clear water, Rio Claro. 2. Black water, Rio Negro or Rio Prieto. 3. White water, Rio Branco. And 4. Green water, Rio Verde. The first attempt to develop a scientific classification of Amazonian rivers was performed in the 1950s by Harald Scioli. He used the color of the waters as well as various physical and chemical characteristics to explain the limnological properties of major Amazonian rivers. Scioli related these characteristics to the geological and geomorphological properties of the contributing drainage basins. Scioli established 3 types of water color in major Amazonian rivers: 1. Clear, 2. White, and 3. Black. More recent hydrochemical data indicates that the chemical composition of Amazonian water bodies is much more complex than that originally envisioned by Scioli. However, due to its simplicity, Scioli's classification remains widely used. The color of a river's water is the result of physical and chemical transformations that take place during surface and subsurface runoff. In the Amazon basin, white water draining from the Andes Mountains, for example the Solimões River in Brazil, referred to as the Amazon River in Peru, has a relatively high concentration of nutrient-rich sediments, thus its light brown color. On the other hand, black water, originating in the central northern rainforest, for example the Negro River, has a high concentration of humic substances, which gives it a characteristic dark black color. Furthermore, clear water, for example the Curuá Una River, draining the neighboring Brazilian Shield region, is patently poor in sediments and therefore transparent, its chemical composition resembling that of rainwater. Most western Amazonian rivers are classified as white water. The white waters are generally muddy, containing large quantities of sediment, often with a brownish tint. The mainstem Amazon River, referred to the Solimões River in Brazil, is classified as white water. Important tributaries such as the Juruá, Purus, and Madeira are also white water. The headwaters of whitewater rivers lie towards the west, in the Andes Mountains of Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia, and carry large amounts of nutrient-rich sediments, giving the water its characteristic light brown color. In addition, at the prevailing high temperatures, the mainly alkaline earth metals and carbonates determine the muddy coloration of white waters. with a relatively high value of electrical conductivity. In the upland basins, this value is approximately 100 microsiemens per centimeter, decreasing to 40 microsiemens per centimeter in the lowland basins. Moreover, the pH of whitewaters is close to neutral. These rivers deposit their nutrient-rich sediment in extensive floodplain areas, referred to as várzeas in the Portuguese language. Therefore, the várzeas are very fertile and covered by highly productive terrestrial and aquatic herbaceous communities, which reach beyond the várzea forests. Sediments carried by whitewater rivers consist of large amounts of fine-grained material. This material increases water holding capacity during a dry phase, but it also impedes soil aeration. The clay fraction contains kaolinite, illite, and smectite. Unlike kaolinite, smectite has a high ion exchange capacity and it releases potassium over time. Both kaolinite and smectite are essential for the fertility of floodplain soils. In mountainous environments, physical weathering is more likely to predominate over chemical weathering. Thus, physical weathering of the Andes Range conditions the geochemistry of downstream tributaries. Predictably, in the Amazon basin, about 84% of the total amount of dissolved and suspended solids originates in only 12% of its contributing area, located to the west. The Blackwater rivers, among them the Negro, Jutaí, Tefé, and Coari rivers, feature much darker color tones. This is due to the soil chemistry and to the local geology, geomorphology, and hydrology. Blackwaters are poor in nutrients, and the surrounding soil is predominantly sandy, containing large amounts of organic matter, such as humic and fulvic acids, which lend the water its characteristic black color. Although the water surface appears dark in color, collecting the river water in a transparent bottle will reveal a color tint varying from red to dark brown. The red waters found in the Negro River at San Gabriel da Cachoeira in the central northern Amazon fall into the blackwater category because they are acidic waters containing a high quantity of humic acids, which give it a reddish-brown color. Most headwaters in the northern Negro tributaries have transparent waters with up to 3 meters Secchi depth, featuring low amounts of suspended matter. They drain the waters originating in the Precambrian Shield of Guyana, characterized by large areas of white sands, or potsols. This is the case of the Branco River, a tributary of the Negro River, which has a high load of suspended matter in the appearance of a whitewater river. However, the chemical characteristics of these rivers indicate that they generally have a low nutritional status and a closer relationship with clearwater rivers. They become blackish in color and very acidic after flowing through areas covered by dense rainforest. The German naturalist Alexander von Humboldt referred to these forests as Hylean in the early 19th century. Blackwater rivers feature pH values in the range 4 to 5 and low electrical conductivity, below 20 microsiemens per centimeter. They mainly transport the sandy bedload and a small fraction of low fertility kaolinite. The water is acidic and the amount of dissolved inorganic substances is small. Secchi water transparency is about 60 to 100 centimeters, with low amounts of suspended matter and high amounts of humic acids, which give the water a reddish-brown color. The amount of dissolved humic substances is about 10 times greater than whitewater Amazon rivers. The water is poor in nutrients and electrolytes, with the predominance of sodium among the major salt cations. The floodplains of blackwater rivers, locally referred to as igapós, feature generally low fertility. Terrestrial and aquatic herbaceous plants are scarce, and many typical whitewater species are absent due to either low fertility, low pH, or both. Sandy beaches suffer severe drought stress due to their low water retention capacity. Downstream of the Negro River, near the confluence with whitewaters and a greater availability of nutrient-rich sediments, there is a larger number of plants. The larger Amazonian rivers featuring clear waters are the Trombetas, Tapajós, and Xingu rivers. Clearwater rivers usually have tones varying from greenish to transparent. They originate in the Amazonian Cratons, that is, very old rock formations dating from the Archean period, Precambrian. Therefore, they have very small amounts of sediment. Cratons exist in two regions of the Amazon basin. One, towards the north, is the Guyana Shield, and two, towards the center-south, is the Brazilian Shield. These rock formations underlie a characteristically flat relief with very little surface erosion and low quantities of organic matter. Consequently, the waters are clearer. Large clearwater rivers have an electrical conductivity ranging from 10 to 50 microsiemens per centimeter, which may decrease to 5 microsiemens per centimeter for lower order streams. The pH is acidic, ranging from 5 to 7, while the transparency of its greenish waters is over 100 centimeters and may exceed 350 centimeters. The floodplains of clearwater rivers, also referred to as igapós, are generally of intermediate fertility. They are covered by a slow-growing floodplain forest where litter production is approximately 30% lower than in other forested areas. The growth rate of trees in the igapós are up to 2/3 lower than those found in the várzeas. Clearwater rivers receive their water mostly from rainfall, with little or no sediment production in the contributing uplands. Their wetlands are generally poor in nutrients. However, their nutritional status may vary due to differences in soil quality in the neighboring cerrados, the tropical savannas of central Brazil. Submerged macrophytes may occur in areas featuring deep light penetration and little water level fluctuation. Thus, the diversity of aquatic microphytes is greater in clearwater rivers than in comparable whitewater or blackwater rivers. The Amazon basin as a whole features three major landscapes. 1. The Andes Mountains toward the west. 2. The crystalline shields or cratons of Guyana toward the north and Brazil toward the southeast. And 3. The sedimentary plains in the central portion, the domain of the Hylean forest. The geological characteristics of the lands where these landscapes are located determine the chemical composition of the waters of the various rivers. Not only are the chemical characteristics quite distinct, but there is also a visual difference. This fact led Scioli to classify the rivers into A. Clear water, B. White water, and C. Black water. Scioli's classification has been supported by botanists and limnologists who found corresponding differences in the occurrence of three species, aquatic macrophytes and aquatic biota, such as snails, bivalves, and other species.
The combination of various dissolved solids and chemical characteristics, such as the amount and relationship between alkali and alkaline earth metals, and major anions, bicarbonates and chlorides, electrical conductivity, pH, total nitrogen, water color, turbidity, and transparency, enable the identification of three classical types of river water: 1. White, 2. Black, and 3. Clear.
In addition, there are other mixed water bodies of intermediate colors. As the order of the river increases, the complexity tends to be hidden because the river flows provide the integration of all waters, thereby mixing waters of different qualities.
The distribution of alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, and of major anions is particularly useful for distinguishing between white water, black water, and clear water rivers.
Greater variability is shown by bodies of water that do not fit into the three classical categories. Therefore, many streams and rivers may actually be considered of mixed water type, resulting from the influence of lower order tributaries with different physico-chemical characteristics.
Die magtani na pong ita kege retak mang